everybody, happy Friday. I am
Hello.
Lauren.
I'm Sunny.
And we are back with Fit Tips with Sunny and Lauren. Continuing on our deadlift series, we've got this week 8 variations of a hip hinge you can do with your body weight at home, outside, at the gym, wherever you may be.
All right, so again, Lauren is going to be doing the movements and I'm going to talk the movements through. So we're going to start with a super basic PVC deadlift. At home you can use a broomstick. If you don't have a PVC pipe, that is all good. So for your PVC deadlift, Lauren, we're going to take the PVC pipe, we're going to put it along your spine. Yes. Now for this, I generally like to go over the PVC with my bottom hand. So can we take your bottom hand off and put it on top of the PVC so the back of your hand is pressing into it so that way it stays against your back. Now what we're looking for here is her head stays against the PVC, her shoulders stay against the PVC pipe, her hips stay against the PVC pipe. For those of you that want to deadlift and aren't quite sure how to do it, this is the best way to learn the motion of the hip hinge. So from here, keeping those 3 contact points, we're going to hinge at the hips, knees are going to bend to allow the hips to go back. You're going to go where you can go to where you still have those 3 contact points. You'll feel work in your glutes, feel work in your hamstrings, everything on the back side, and then come back up. Nice slow on the way down, focusing on keeping those 3 contact points. So if you've always wanted to learn how to deadlift or aren't sure you're doing it right or what the motion should feel like, this is a great tool and a great exercise to work on at home to practice the motion or just to get everything stretched out, loosened up for your deadlift if you're planning on going into a deadlift workout. All right, so that's the first movement there. From there, we're going to progress that into a toe elevated deadlift. Thinking about that same motion you just did, so abs are braced, shoulders are back, head stays straight with the body. If the PVC was there, you would still have those 3 contact points, hinging at the hips. This is going to deepen the stretch on your calves a little bit, and this is great to do if you feel like you have tight calves or maybe it's hard for you to keep your calves down in a squat or in a deadlift and you can't feel the pressure there and load the hips and load the backside. This is going to force you into that position. So that's one way you can work on it, your toe elevated deadlifts here. All right, moving on from that, we have different stance deadlifts. So let's face the camera on this one. All right, so we're going to have narrow stance. So this is going to be when feet are closer together than you would be a neutral stance. So neutral is usually about around shoulder width apart or hip width where you're comfortable. So we're going a little bit narrower than that. And that's going to put the load a little bit more on the hamstrings. It's going to be bigger of a stretch as you go down. So really focus on that posture. Head stays straight with your body. Back stays flat. Again, those 3 contact points would be there if you had your PVC. Okay, from there, we're going to progress that into a sumo stance deadlift. So toes are going to go wide. Knees are going to drive wide. All right, hinging at the hips again. That same hip hinge motion. Just now, it's going to be focusing more on outer hips. And then you'll get a little bit of a stretch on that inner hip area too. So it's going to be a different target, different parts of your hamstrings basically here. And really focus as you're going down to drive those knees wide. You want to avoid letting your knees dive in. So think hips, knees, toes should all be pointing the same direction. If you can't get your knees to follow your toes here, just bring it in a little closer and turn your toes in a little bit more. It's going to depend on your range of motion and what your body's capable of doing. All right. From there, we're going to start taking it to single leg stances here. So first one we're going to start, let's go from the side, that's good. All right, so we're going to do an assisted rear foot assisted deadlift here, single leg. So we're going to use a band here to help with the setup. And we have just a mini band. If you don't have that at home, you can use a piece of tape or you can pretend like there's an imaginary line here. Now what she's going to do is she's going to step onto the band with her heel of one foot. And then she's going to place the toe of her opposite foot on the band as well. So she's in an offset stance. Now most of her weight is going to be on the balancing leg. This leg is just here for assistance to help stabilize her. Okay? Now hips go back, back stays flat. Yep. Weight should be on that balancing leg, so most of your weight is here. The opposite leg again is just there to help assist, to help support. And this is the beginning of your progression working into a single leg deadlift type motion. So if a single leg balance deadlift is really hard, this is one way you can work on it without being fully in a single leg stance. And if you do one leg, make sure you do the other. All right, from there we did this variation last week in our last Fit Tip Friday. We have your single leg RDL. So you're in a one leg balance, back stays flat. chest out, making sure we're not rounding the back, rounding the shoulders as you go down. Again, loading your hamstrings. It's the same motion for all of them, just different stances here. All right, again, work both legs. Okay, from there, we're gonna progress it to a 3-way deadlift. So we're gonna have 3 objects. Okay, and you don't have to have objects, but we're gonna use them because it makes it a little bit easier to figure this motion out. The closer you place your objects to you, the easier it's gonna be. The further they are, the harder it's gonna be, so adjust it accordingly. And then you're gonna find your balance on one leg first. All right, once you find your balance, you're gonna do that same hip hinge motion, but we're gonna add a reach in different directions. So right now, Lauren's reaching to her left. She'll come back up, reach into the middle. She'll come back up, reach to the right. This makes it a lot harder to maintain your balance. So for those of you wanting to work on balance and to work on stability in your core and are looking for different ways to do that at home, this is a great exercise to incorporate into your routines to help progress your balance. Now, some people are gonna struggle going all the way to the ground, and that's okay. If you can't touch, reach as far as you can without losing your stability. What you don't want to happen is to go all the way to the ground and fall over every time. So if that's happening, you've gone a little too far, and that's okay. You don't have to be all the way at the ground, but go where you can go with control to where you can still come back up and maintain your balance. And the more you work on it, the better it'll get, and you'll find that once you are lifting or once you're doing things through your day, a lot of things will start to feel easier.
Another thing I wanted to point out about that really quick is when you reach to the side, your back leg is going to want to counterbalance you. Watch that back leg kick straight back so that it doesn't kick out to the side as the opposite side, but you want it to kick straight back, and when you reach to the right, you don't want it to kick this way. So just watch for the back leg.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
All right, and then from there we have our last one, we have our airplane deadlifts. So for your airplane deadlift, we're gonna use a wall because it makes it a little bit easier to figure the motion out. Once you figure it out, you can do the same thing without a wall. All right, so you're gonna stand about a foot away from the wall. You're gonna be in a one leg balance on the leg closest to the wall. From here, we have your single leg RDL. You're gonna reach to the ground with the arm closest to the wall. Try to open your hip up. Now behind her, there's a gap here, so her hips are not on the wall, but her heel is touching the wall. Her hand is touching the wall, so she's squeezing back, glutes are engaged. She's opening up, and then she's gonna rotate back down and RDL back up with control. All right?
Let's tap it on the other.
Exactly. Now, when you do this, this is a much more advanced move for a single leg hip hinge motion. We're basically adding a clamshell, a bodyweight clamshell to your hip hinge. So if this is too difficult, same concept as what we did earlier, you don't have to go as low. So you can put a chair in front of you or a yoga block or something to reach for that's not quite as low. Let's just go to my hand, Lauren, so let's just go here. Yep, you can use that to help support you. Rotate up, control back down, stand. So you can pick an object to put in front of you, master that, then go a little lower until you can reach the ground and complete the motion with control from the ground. All right, so
always remember to brace your abs. That's usually a reason why you're losing your balance, is if something comes unglued through here.
Yeah, and you can also do our accessory moves from last week to help you basically warm up for some of these variations if they're new to you and you haven't done them before. And that's your 8 deadlift or hip hinge variations you can work on at home.
Yes, and we will show you next week how to load them with bands, dumbbells, kettlebells, and just how to actually load the deadlift for the lift portion. So thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday, everyone. And again, if you have any questions about the motions, having some trouble, shoot us a video, shoot us a text, and we will help you coach it up. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the post. If it helped you, it might help someone else.
Bye.